तेरे हजारों हाथ.
Jagat Sevak, will you chant something for us to begin the morning?
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Gananandva Ganapatigam Vadamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashavastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashvanvan Nudiliseda Saranam Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Pirvajini Vati Dinama Vitrayavatu Ano Divo Prahatah Parvatada Saraswati Yajatagantu Yajnam Tavan Devi Jujushana Gratachi Shakman No Vajamashati Shunotu Vagdevyai Namaha Charanam Pavitram Vitatam Paranam Kena Putastarati Dushkratani Tena Pavitrena Shuttena Putaha Atipapmanamarathim Dharema Shri Satguru Charanarabindabhyan Namaha. Om Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Bolo. Om Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Baba Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Om Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Tata Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. Today is a very important satsang and a very important day in Baba's history in particular, because there was a very important work written by the Mahabhakta Annasaheb Gavankar. It was written in 1967 in Marathi, a very important and beautiful book called Sai Baba Heart Chamatkar. And in my years with Dr. Vinny, she made multiple references to his writing in particular and all his writings, but this book we were not able to find. And after many years of searching through the descendants, we were able to get one copy that was published long back. And for the first time, we translated it into English as Sai Baba the Miracle. So since 2019, me and Gautam have been talking about Baba's teachings and their application in daily living through the podcast series. And there were multiple times where we read this, that in times to come, Baba's teachings will be looked deeper into. And this book precisely did that. It goes into the aspects of Gyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And Anna, why it's important is he speaks from his own direct experience. In 1954, he had Baba's Sakshatkar Darshan. Then I requested Gautam if you could read this and we can discuss this book so the teachings are propagated. So Gautam, maybe we can begin with the chapter I had asked you to read if you don't mind.
Sure. So, as you all know, the book which has brought us together is Living with Faith and Patience. This is perhaps our third or fourth city in which we are together. We've done Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune as well. I was in Pune. And we were pleasantly surprised that people were interested in the teachings of Baba. Because this focus was not on miracles, chamatkars, leelas. And people tend to lose interest when it comes to their daily living. So I told Nikkhel in the early days that our viewership will be the least on your channel. But he had the courage to say, but we have to shed light on Baba's teachings. And that's how we began through COVID. It actually began maybe just before COVID or through COVID, went on for a few years. And this book is a transcript of about 50 to 55 such talks. And we were pleasantly surprised that we started getting feedback. And so I consider, given Nikhil's personal journey from Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi to Shirdi Sai Baba, in the early days, he's much younger than me, when he came with me to Tiruvannamalai and I saw his journey go towards Baba, it reminded me of Narasimha Swami, who was guided by Ramana Maharshi and told, your guru is Sai Baba. But he didn't listen to his guru at that time. It was years later that he went, and lo and behold, at Baba's Samadhi, he had a darshan of Baba that you are here to write my biography. Similarly, Arthur Osborne wrote the first small booklet on Sai Baba. So I consider this work, this opening of YouTube especially, a way to reach out to the world at large with Baba's teachings. Before going into this beautiful book, which I consider almost a companion to Living with Faith and Patience, what I'd like to add is that Baba was deceptively simple. You see, unfortunately, what would happen is his miracles would be taken literally. There's one account in this book, The Miracle, where a man called Keshav Rao is very hesitant to go to Baba and he sits at the back for the darshan. He doesn't come in front. And Baba commands him to come. And then he tells Keshav Rao, whatever you have in your pocket, give it to me. So he puts his hand in one pocket. No hesitation. But Baba says both pockets. So he finds himself emptying both pockets, putting the money there, and then he is commanded to leave Shirdi at once. But he obeys. Now he is worried, of course, that all my employer's money which I collected, what do I tell my employer now that it's gone? So he had accepted what happened, but a practical problem lay ahead. But the next day, his employer said, you've done a very efficient job because all the money has come into our account. Now at one level, we say, wow, what a chamatkar, beautiful, Sai Baba, Sai Ram. But what is the message? See, Sai Baba never gave direct teachings. What does emptying one's pockets mean? Not just money. What is being offered? And is it being offered in love, trust, and surrender? Or are you hesitating? What will happen to me now that my money is gone? This is the Sufi way. The Sufi masters were known to bring their disciples down to ground zero because that is when trust and surrender is tested. There was a Sufi master in Kanpur called Radha Mohan Lal, whom I speak about, and his Russian disciple Irina Tweedy went and lived with him. And one day he said, get your checkbook. And he made her start writing out checks to everyone he considered needed money. And her bank account came down, 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 but she did not question. So you see, whatever happens in the Guru Tattva, Guru field is a test, it's a learning. If we just get stuck at this is one more chamatkar of Baba, there's no filtering into our consciousness. But if we see what is behind it, that is the depth of the teaching. That is what I at least hold very dear to my heart. So whenever, and the amazing job Nikkhel is doing with the House of Sai books, it is incredible to see works which have disappeared for decades are coming back. And they are coming on their own. They are not being chased. And he is just the instrument through whom that is being translated, printed, and being made available. These things cannot happen by individual will. Would you like to add anything?
You said it rightly. It's they come, like even Purna Parabrahma was published for the first time after 106 years. And this is a very special book because it was written before the Sai Satcharit in 1914. And a reference is made to this in chapter 2. In fact, Hemadpant said that I don't know why I should write the Charitra when some literary works are already put. But it takes me back to what Gautam says, that in time to come, the teachings and the leelas, will be pondered upon. And this literature also, like Purna Parabrahma, I don't have a copy here, but is very, very important. So with this book in particular, Sai Baba the Miracle, what I found very important is that Anna Sahib speaks from his own direct experience. And one Leela which I feel is very dear to my heart, of course he had Baba's Sakshatkar in 1954, 18 January. But during Baba's Sakshatkar, I keep saying this again and again, he continued with his sadhana, he continued with his practice, and Baba was sitting outside and he tells Anna's son that he is taking my name only. And I think this is very significant because as sadhakas and disciples of Baba today, the emphasis on discipline, practice, sadhana has to be, we have to see the conduct of the Mahabhaktas. I mean, there's a reason, it's an interplay between them and Baba. And I feel their lives have to be pondered upon equally. And we were very fortunate to spend time with Dr. Vinny and do the whole series. So we did an in-depth video series. I'm not sure if all of you have seen that. But paying homage to each of these Mahabhaktas, their lives, so these qualities can be imbibed.
You see, it's quite known that when great masters incarnate, the people around them come together to fulfill certain tasks. It happened with Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. He himself said that Ata Hosborn had a job to be done. There was some give and take between us. When Annamalai Swami was in charge of building the ashram buildings, someone asked Bhagwan, how is he so good at his job? And he said, because he was an engineer in a past life. So you see the Mahabhaktas, whether it is Sri Aurobindo, Ramana Maharshi, Shirdi Sai Baba, you can imagine their level of consciousness to be so close to the master who is in the body. So whatever has transpired in their lives, Ramakrishna for that matter, there's a book, Ramakrishna and His Disciples, is truly to see that level of bhakti, seva bhav. It's a very rare quality today. I was telling Nikkhel in a lighter vein, Radha Krishna Mai, if you all are familiar with her, she actually had a code of conduct for people who were going to meet Sai Baba. And she said, if you are going to meet the King of Kings, the Rajadhiraj, how do you pronounce it? Rajadhiraj.
Yes.
how would you go? How would you dress? With what qualities would you go? How would you offer your presence? So she would train them that this is the way to present yourself to Parabrahma. These kind of qualities, unfortunately, have got watered down. And I think they are very important because ultimately one is going to meet one's own self. We lose that. And today, in today's fast world, that reverence, that quality of bhav is missing. In the satsangs in Mumbai at my home, there are 3 ladies. They are all elderly. They stay in an elderly people's society. One of them dresses so impeccably, a fresh, crisp sari, beautiful hair drawn back, and a bindu. Really, one day I complimented her. I said, all this trouble for Sunday morning satsang. She said, but this is the way I dress all the time. This is the way I present myself all the time. It was really refreshing. But we have lost that. Sometimes we have people who go to ashrams where people have no dress code. They come, they don't have a shah, they come untidy, sloppy, because they are not aware of how to present yourself to the Parabrahman. So that is why I feel these old books have really such simple guidelines for us to follow, which is very revealing. And can I just delve into
Sure.
the miracle?
Yes, absolutely.
This is the book Nikkhel is talking about. I think some copies are
We have
available
a
here
few
for
there.
sale. You see, Ramana Maharshi said the greatest siddhi is peace of mind in daily living. The greatest siddhi. But for someone who's after spiritual experiences, that is not alluring enough. They want heightened experiences. They want Baba to present himself before them. And their daily living is a mess. So, what is the option really? To keep waiting for a spiritual experience or a vision of Baba and live the same conflicts, condemnation, blame, judgment, hatred, malice, ill will, spite, jealousy, envy, pride, arrogance, guilt, and shame till your last breath? Or to imbibe the teachings, look at your relationships with people in your life, especially those you don't like, your relationship with what happens in your life, pleasure or pain, and your relationship with yourself. To me, that is the most important. Because recently in Tiruvannamalai, I had invited someone to give a talk. He has a siddhi of being able to see people who are no longer in their bodies. And he wrote a book called When You Die. And one sentence he said in Satsang was, if you live a peaceful life, you'll die a peaceful death. You see, because you can only live a peaceful life if the sense of doership of the ego is annihilated. When you see the hand of God above everyone, then only will you lead a peaceful life. So that is why the masters say, die before you die and find there is no death. So coming to this book, I'll just read out 2 small paragraphs. And it's called The Unreal. this chapter title itself is so deep because what we see is so unreal, but it looks so real. But that which doesn't exist all the time, how can it be real? Before you were born, it didn't exist. After you die, it doesn't exist. And in deep sleep, it doesn't exist. So can it be real? What you see, hear, taste, smell, and touch in the waking state can only be real in the waking state. So is it the ultimate reality? Or is it the grand deception, the Maya? See, if the one self went into a hall of mirrors, it would only see itself because there is no other. But in the manifest world, that one self appears as others. The mirror in the manifest world is what you are seeing right now. You are standing in front of the mirror, but you see the other. You don't see yourself. A barking dog goes into a hall of mirrors, he will see other dogs barking because it is a reflection of the barking dog. So when Sai Baba says, see me in all beings, he means precisely this. Don't see through the eyes of duality. See through the eye of singularity, the eye of Shiva, the third eye. If thine eye be single, thy whole body will be full of light, the light of consciousness. So this veil of Maya must be lifted to live a peaceful life. So here he says, I'll start with something simpler. The need for happiness, the remembrance of it, and then meeting the Guru who shows the path to that happiness. This is the natural order of the divine creation. And the human being is trying to find happiness outside in pleasures and realizes no pleasure lasts. But that need is inherent in everyone. The need for happiness. The world constantly lets us down because we find something, a beautiful relationship, a lot of money, and it goes. So this need is the first step. Then remembering it, if it's natural, I know that I want happiness. And then comes the Guru who shows you what is true happiness. That happiness which does not depend on pleasures. Without a genuine need, one cannot recognize the value of something nor find the right path to it. Even for something as simple as vegetables, there must be a need. Only then does one go to the marketplace, and that experience stays with the person. Similarly, only where there is a deep inner longing does the importance of the Guru become evident. See, this whole Guru principle this need of the Guru is not so that the Guru helps you in all your troubles, finds a solution, finds a way out. Guru is consciousness. So it is my relationship with consciousness. And in an embodied form, someone who I revere, look up to, plays the role of the Guru. The Guru knows that there is no difference between the Guru and the disciple because it is a play of consciousness, and in the realm of opposites, even Guru, disciple are opposites. The disciple does not know that. That is why you find gurus like Sai Baba incredibly patient with disciples. Because they know they are, those who are earnest, they are battling their personality, they are aware of their pitfalls, but they are trying their best. So Nisargadatta Maharaj said, earnestness is the key. Earnestness is the key. So this is so close to Gyan Yoga. It is Gyan Yoga. Sai Baba said he was imparting Brahma Gyan, which is the knowledge of creation, knowledge of Brahman. That is why we really like to emphasize this. Live the teachings, try your best, and see how it goes. It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. Would you like to add something?
In the Satcharit, there is an OV in which Baba, just coming back to what you had said earlier, Baba says that if you forget me, Maya will lash you. And that correlates very much to this, which means if one's attention goes away from within, from Baba within, and gets engrossed in the outside, then you are going to be mired with the ever-changing manifest. So, there's that example of the lotus, like you be in the pond, but you're unaffected by everything. So that state one can come when one is in remembrance of Baba all the time. Therefore, the Charitra, the reading of the Satcharit every day, the contemplation on the Leelas, and these are things Baba has said. Even satsangs like this, having association, participating in Aarti, doing the practices, so many practices. If one reads the full Satcharit, there are many practices Baba gave. Then it is for us to understand that it is for us to practice. The Vishnu Sahasranam, for example. But this one line of Baba and this chapter, The Unreal, I think it sums it up that if you forget me, Maya will lash you. And there was a very beautiful video. I would say we were very fortunate to record with my Guruji. I'm not sure if everyone has watched it. It was the Kali Yuga is accelerating. So Pujya Dharamdas Baba spoke of this. He said कि Kali Yuga palne mein se bahar nikla hai, which means the Kali Yuga has come out of the, the cradle, and it is chasing you, और उसने छलांग मारकर गले से पकड़ लिया है. So you see all this AI and these things that are going on. Of course, they have their good place, but it's very easy to get lost in this. So coming back to what Baba said, that if you forget me, Maya will lash you. So if we can be sincere with our practices, I would say at least we are making an humble attempt. Then it is His grace, like the doorways to grace open, but that first step we have to take.
In the Advaita path, there's a bit of laziness which has crept in, because they say, who's there to practice? Everything is happening, and all that spiritual bypassing comes in. But even Advaita gurus like Ramana Maharshi, in fact, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi insisted on some of his disciples reading particular chapters of the Ribhu Gita. So one disciple told him, but I don't understand a word of it. Do I still read it? And he said, understanding it is not important, reading it is. In fact, he suggested chapter 26 of the Ribhu Gita should be read and reread, whether you understand it or not. You see, because words are vibrations. The mind comes in later. The analytical mind tries to process the words, make meanings out of it. But words hit the heart. Like we have mantras. Our yogis are capable of reciting mantras and dropping walls down. Why? Because the mantra is a vibration. Now, you can imagine the words which you are using in your daily life. That is your vibration. When you speak to people, are you hurting them? That is your vibration. That is why Ramana Maharshi said the tongue is the hardest to control. You see, because the tongue is very different from the eyes and ears. When you hear, you have no option, sounds come to you. You're walking on the street, sounds come. When you see, you see. You can't not see suddenly someone in the middle of everything. It's passive. But the tongue is a bit of a dangerous thing, because the tongue is an accumulation of conditioning from day one, your belief systems, and your sense of separation. So when you hurl negativity towards someone, you are letting out that vibration. And when that vibration is let out, it follows a law. The law is as you sow, so you reap. The Tibetans understood this. They had what they called the fourfold law, which simply put is, what you let out in one direction comes back to you from all four directions. That is the fourfold law, to keep it very simple. So, the other problem with the tongue is words once issued cannot be taken back. They set in course a chain of events. That could be called the chain of cause and effect. And if you see the Sai Baba stories, many are driven towards this point. That is why he was insistent on his disciples not being rude to beggars or people who wanted things and irritated his disciples to get those things. He cautioned them, be careful, no matter how much you are tried and tested. I'm not saying give, but just see you don't lose your cool. And many failed that test. You see, because this is where it fails, the sense of me and mine, my money. I'm giving away my money. And the other person bugs you, and you fail. If you really had the understanding that your money has come from somewhere else, it doesn't belong to you, that would not happen. So I'll just read out this bit in the Unreal. The conclusion of all spiritual scriptures is this: apart from the one self, no other entity truly exists. Maya, the individual soul, ignorance, God, and the world, none of these have an independent reality. What alone exists is the one Brahman, which is peaceful and beyond all sequence or grasp, which is peaceful. That is why we hammer this point. Are you a beacon of peace in your daily lives, or are you a volcano of disruption? Hell-bent on destroying others, anyone who opposes you with a different point of view, your job is to dominate them and convince them your point of view is right. Why cannot we accept everyone is entitled to their point of view? Everyone does not have to agree with me. So we agree to disagree. It does not mean we lose the relationship. I am a conditioned being, the other is a conditioned being with a different set of circumstances, background, parents, religion, and so on and so forth. So I've lost sight of the fact that the same consciousness is functioning through everyone because I'm just seeing objects which are speaking. Yet I know in the kitchen the same electricity functions through all the gadgets, bringing about what each gadget is designed to produce. But I forget that the only thing keeping my enemy alive is consciousness. So is my relationship with my enemy or my relationship with consciousness? Do I really have enemies? It may appear like I do, but do I really? Because consciousness in this game of duality is speaking through one instrument and listening through the other. Consciousness is speaking to itself and listening to itself. But the Maya is so strong that we forget this basic fact. And so here, this is the last thing actually I would like to say, where Anna Sahib says, the firm conclusion of all scriptures is indeed the state of Nirvikalp Samadhi, which is a thought-free, non-dual absorption. Therefore, having realized that, remain as you are, silent, still, and at peace, like a living stone. The ultimate conclusion of all scriptures is to become free of all distinctions, which means Nirvikalp, through the realization of Advaita. Therefore, after attaining this realization, it is best to remain silent and at peace, abiding like a stone, in complete stillness even while living. Thus, the concluding state described as Drishanmona, a stillness like that of a stone, means to abide in one's true nature, remaining established in the awareness of the self. This alone is the true essence of the final teaching. You see, so Nirvikalp basically means we don't have to sit in a gufa and meditate and experience Nirvikalp Samadhi, Savikalp Samadhi, and all the various samadhis. We are householders, we are regular people, we have jobs to do, we have lives to live. So why not look at stilling the thinking mind, the garbage of the thinking mind in our daily living? Because it is the same. The macrocosm and the microcosm, as within, so without. So work where we are, and to get this peace, through understanding the bond of relationships, which Sai Baba called Rinanubandhan, the cosmic bond of prior births. Rin, which is a bondage, bandhan. So to understand the rivers of karma run deep, it appears that someone is doing something to me, but it's just an appearance. Who knows what happened when? And what debts are being paid and repaid, we don't know. Our mind is too limited. And so, Nirvikalp, to be in the thought-free state, means no regrets about the past, no fears of an imaginary future. My thoughts, my thinking, not full of garbage, of what others have done to me and how I should get back to them all my life. When all that thinking, that unnecessary thinking, is burned to ash, because I have seen in life there are no others. Consciousness is appearing as my family members, my friends, my colleagues at work, strangers on the road, whoever it may be, with different names, forms, each there to teach me the lesson of life. This is a very important loka we have manifested in. The Mrityu Lok is the loka of death. We have come here to learn, not to repeat the lesson endlessly. You go to school, you're in the 7th standard. If you don't learn the lessons, you fail. Then you reappear, then you fail, you reappear, till you pass. What does it mean here? First of all, as it has always been said, the human birth is the rarest of rare gifts and an accumulation of a lot of punya. The human species is the only species gifted a vertical spine. It is very rare. But we, in the battle to live, we forget this. The battle of me and mine, my story, my victories, we fail. So Mrityu Lok is not something to be scared of. It is the loka of the death of the me and my story, the mrityu of that. Because consciousness is everlasting, eternal, all-pervading, all-knowing, all-powerful. How can that die? It is the ego with its sense of separation for which the mrityu is there. Because in deep sleep, nobody is scared of death. Isn't that a joke? So that is the journey, and that is why, you see, you have, I'm following the path of Advaita. My biggest influences have been Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj and Sri Ramana Maharshi. And both have categorically stated that Sai Baba is the absolute. They haven't even said he's a reflection of the absolute or this of the absolute, that of the absolute. The absolute. And after all, in the Shripad Sri Vallabh Charitra, Sai Baba's name is mentioned hundreds of years before he manifested here. So our only hope and request to y'all is that bring the teachings into daily living. That is the rasa. Bhakti bhav is amazing. It leads to great things. But imagine having bhakti bhav and your daily living is a mess. Because if you truly saw that God existed in all beings, then your bhakti would be equal to all. When a lady told Ramakrishna that, I'm just paraphrasing her, she said, I felt I've attained. He said, your mother? She said, yes, you love your child the most. He said, you will only attain when you love everyone else's children as your own. Then you come back. You see, so this me and mine has to be destroyed. I'll tell you a funny incident. We all live in a cause-effect relationship. I have a friend, he's a multimillionaire. He went on some luxury trip to a luxury resort, and he said the service was so bad that I didn't know what to do. But he was following his own sadhana, this gentleman. So he said on the last day of the trip, no matter how much I complained about the staff, nobody bothered, nobody listened. He said, I thought I must do something different so that they remember me. So what he did, on the last day of his trip, he had no shortage of money. He called the general manager of the resort. And he said, I gave him such a big tip that he was shocked. It was huge. He said, sir, this will cover the entire staff. What have we done to deserve it? He said, that is why I'm giving it to you. Because you did nothing to deserve it. But that was the biggest lesson. You see, so when the understanding is there, you're not looking at a cause effect. They didn't behave well, they didn't treat me well, no tip. That is what we do. We negotiate with the world. The negotiations have to end. We buy our love from our loved ones. Our friends, the closer ones, we give nice gifts. The ones who are not so close, little cheaper gifts. We buy our love. We are negotiators in the living dream of life. But make no mistake, as Joel Goldsmith said, when you're negotiating, you're negotiating with the oneself. Remember that. How would you feel if someone who has offered a service thought they were getting less than what they deserved? Would you also feel that or not? So that's basically it. That's all I have to say. Sorry for hogging the session. But
this is an important point. In fact, Baba emphasized this, that never take the labor of anyone's without remunerating them. And going back to what Gautam said a little earlier, that Sai Baba is the absolute, there were many devotees that would often go to Baba and say, oh Baba, I want to go to Pandharpur, I want to go here, please give me permission to go. And Baba would say, your Pandharpur, everything is over here only. So I just want to illustrate one important Leela in the life of the Tarkhad family. So Jyotinder Tarkhad's mother and him had gone to Pandharpur after taking Baba's permission And she was very short. She was not a very tall lady. She must have been 4.5 feet or something. So, and she had great devotion. So she took flowers, a mala, and asked the priest that I would want to put the mala onto the idol. He said, "No, you can just leave it here. We will not allow you to do that." And she prayed to Baba immediately that I'm not able to do so. And the idol bent down. The minute she had the prayer, she put the mala, and the priest was flabbergasted. Like, what happened? He immediately realized this is not an ordinary devotee. So that shows the oneness, Baba shows through the Leelas what Gautam just said, that Baba is the Absolute. And just to add to that, there is another book. Mhalsapati was one of, Baba's closest devotees. His son had compiled the experiences of Mhalsapati and narrated them to one gentleman. And we found that Marathi copy and translated it. This book is there as a free download on houseofsai.com in the Kindle library. And like Tarkard's experiences, this too has some Leelas which are not mentioned in the Charitra, but there are first-hand accounts of people who've lived with Baba. So this is more precious than gold. And I feel, it was Vinima who actually encouraged Jyotinder Tarkard's son to write these experiences, the live experiences of the Tarkard family, and that book came into Marathi, then it came into English. Similarly, these writings of the descendants of the Mahabhaktas are very important because they have first-hand accounts, things that are not there in the Charitra. So they are very, very important, and I would encourage you to read and contemplate on them and give them the same respect and weightage as you give the Satcharit.
I'd like to add here that, if I may, Nikkhel is working on his own experiences with Sai Baba, because I think it's great, so it's relatable for today's generation. Otherwise they'll say, "Ye Baba to us zamane mein ye kiya, wo kiya," but it's alive. And I have been part of Nikhil's journey for, I don't know, maybe 18 years or something. And initially he was not a Baba Bhakt. I saw that happening before my eyes. And all small incidents he would tell me about sounded really fantastic. And I would say, "Yaar, my guru, so anything you went to him with," he said, "will of God, will of God." And I said, "Here, all these chamatkars are happening, So it was very beautiful to see, because one thing I saw, perhaps I don't have that, but one quality I saw, that his bhakti, the more it was on the increase, the more these incidents were happening. It was like a gentle ramp up, not sudden, but a very steady ramp up, which I, in my recent retreat, which I call the Trinity of love, trust, and surrender. It is like a triangle. All three are important. The triangle cannot exist without the three, the Trinity: love, trust, and surrender. So in his case, I saw that unfolding beautifully as far as Sai Baba was concerned. And it also happened when he moved to Goa and met this wonderful lady, whom I also had the privilege to meet, who has appeared on his YouTube channel. And from then on, I have seen that bhakti, the kind of transformation it can bring about, is total. Yet there's a downside. When I had an apartment in Goa, and this is not to criticize, and we were selling it, and we had to go to the local office for paperwork, we were warned that the person in charge was not only rude and abusive, but he was very difficult to handle. And it was precisely like that. It was a very bad experience. But when we went to the Sai Baba temple in the evening, he was there, bantoing prasad to everyone. I said, "This is disconnected bhakti for me." You're doing the Aarti of Baba and bantoing prasad to everyone, but at work you are like this. What would Baba think of you? Baba would warn people in government jobs, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not so well read on Baba, but certain things stay. Do not take a bribe. So this disconnection, you see, bhakti is fine, but bhakti has to include everyone. It cannot be just bhakti in the morning at the temple to Sai Baba and you don't relate to daily living. So you see, and the problem with Sai Baba is you will not know when you're being tested. Just like the woman who cooked that food for him and he didn't show up and the dog came at her doorstep. And when she complained to Baba, Baba said, but I came, but you didn't offer me any food. So Baba is testing us through others. So ours is a negotiated bhakti where we want punya and so we just ring temple bells, do aarti and bantofy prasad. But the true test is daily living. You cannot escape that. The Rinanubandhan with the people you have is your learning ground. When you realize everyone in life is like a piece on a chessboard, everyone has been assigned their role. Some are kings, bishops, queens, knights, pawns, we don't know. Being guided by a higher force. And the life, the chessboard of black and white is the chessboard of duality. But at the end of the game, no matter who wins and who loses, all the pieces are going into the same box. To live with this understanding that everyone we meet, we come from the same source, we go back to the same source. I was in Kashmir with my Sufi mystics last week. There was a lady who was weeping and weeping because not only did she lose her brother, but her mother is on her way out. And she said, they are the last two I really cared for. And she said the biggest truism. She said, hum aaye hain jaane ke liye. We have come here to go. I said, yes, we have come here to go. Once you're born, your death is assured. But in between, we have to live. That is why living with faith and patience, Shraddha and Saburi. The Master is there, ever guiding. And Masters are looking for disciples who have lived the teaching.
I want to add a little on this story in the book. So basically, by Baba's grace, many experiences were given. I've put it together. It's still a first draft, but I would want to share one story very dear to me, because usually when people think of miracles, we only think of the good things. But when Baba gives us these leelas, he's teaching us through them, and they continue till date. So one particular incident, which I would say was a turning point in my life, this goes back many, many years ago. I was coming outside of a supermarket and I had a large carton with me. My hands were full basically. It was May, very hot, and it would have been around 2 in the afternoon. And there was this old, frail lady, must be 75, 80 years old, just standing there. She didn't approach me, she didn't ask for anything. Some could be like a laborer, someone very simple. And I pushed the door open, my car was right there, and within me, this thought came that, oh no, why now? This was the thought. And I immediately repented. I went to the car, and when I looked back, she disappeared. So it was a highway, there was no way she went into the store, she didn't cross, she didn't go to the left or right. And it reminded me of the incident that happened with Nana Sahib Chandorkar, where someone came to his home and asked for food. His wife gave, and then she continued asking, and Nana was quite rude to her. Then when he went to Baba, Baba didn't talk to him, and he asked Baba, have I done something? And he later on, Baba said that, see, she asked you, you could have politely say no. Why did you use your governance and your position of power to talk to her rudely? And I realized mentally that thought coming, like they say, when the orange is squeezed, what will come out is what is already inside. So this became a turning point for me, where I realized that through these leelas, Baba teaches us still today. And, obviously when miracles happen, we are very happy. But when we really start pondering and contemplating the Charitra, this continued experience we all have. So at the back of the book, I've said this book is more about you than me. I mean, we are all his children. Baba continues to teach us, but we need to be alert and receptive. So in a few months, hopefully this book is out. And I'm very grateful to you, Gautam, for your time you've given us over the years and the close association I've had with you. Before we finish, can we take some questions?
If there are,
Yeah, so
would anyone like to share anything or ask anything?
if it's just about the podcast or the teaching, something short and concise, please do. Yes, sir. The microphone, please.
Someone said they had come to Satsang and they said, my partner brings out the worst in me. So I said, but that may be so, but it's inside you only. Na? What has it got to do with your partner? In fact, you should thank your partner because you have the opportunity to see what comes up. So whatever we blame on others and project that they are the reason why we are saying things, we have to be mindful that that is all within our garbage can. And they are doing us a big favor. What is the content of one's own consciousness? Speaking is one thing, but what is going on here? That is also the vibration. Are you entering your house with that vibration on someone else's house? You know what Eckhart Tolle calls, are you a walking, talking pain body? Because if you are, you will trigger others. They'll just pick up the vibration, and that is how accidents happen. So are we vibrating pain bodies, taking up pain and just distributing it as prasad to everyone we meet? Why not change all this what you have said to where can I find my peace? So then you have to deal with yourself. Forget the judge, forget this one, forget that one, forget the rich, forget the poor. Be concerned with your consciousness, your peace, and see where your peace lies and where is it disturbed. That is the sadhana. What is within? That is all you can, as the masters say, you can't control what happens, but only your attitude to it. So be concerned with that. That is the practice. This is the Maya, this is the illusion what you have described. Everyone is seeing it. But your hope is dependent on the externals. It will let you down. That's it. That's all I have to say. Just be concerned with your peace, your relationships, and where your peace lies. Find your friends who are more peaceful than others. Be with them. See where all you are wearing your masks. How many different masks we wear in different situations. Where are you comfortable to let your guard down? The most comfortable place is Satsang, because Satsang is the company of truth. That is why it is propagated, as Nick rightly said, is to be in the company of truth. They may be strangers to you, but that is where only the message of the truth is being given. So it's all within. That's all I have to say. Life is a roller coaster. It is up and down. The wheel of fortune keeps turning. That is the nature of life. Samsara is dukkha, as the Buddha said. Nirvana is shanti. Nirvana is peace. But they are not two. Nirvana is to be found through the dukkha, through the samsara. Thy will be done. This is your department.
On your third point, you said we are knowledgeable. I would say we are empty cups. I've had the good fortune to spend time with Ai, who is a very close devotee of Baba, and she emphasized on the pure bhakti bhav. So she said, you should call out to Baba like you call out to your mother, and Baba will respond. She never gave too much emphasis. Like she said, suppose you're in trouble, will you put on clothing and then go and pray? So we have to see it in context where they come from. Radhakrishna Mai Ma and Vinima are talking of the perspective of respect to your Satguru, which you have within your heart. But it cannot be that you have, just one sec, so, sorry, I couldn't see him. Yeah, sure. So it cannot be that the primary is your, as Narasimha Swamiji said, your faith and love is primary. But obviously when you go to Baba, like Mai would tell people who would come in front, it comes from her bhakti. Like when I went to my Guruji, the person who took me prepared me. He said, see, Guruji likes white color. If you dress in light color, that is preferable. So he shared his experience out of his respect and love for his Guru. Then it is for me to follow. When I went there, I saw everyone was dressed in white, so that feeling arises. But ultimately, I would say it is the love, respect that you have, and Baba knows the contents of one's heart. We cannot fool Baba, right? That's about the clothing. The second aspect I hold very dear, because see, there are many controversial questions the mind goes to. Like some people will ask questions about Satya Sai Baba and Baba. Some ask about his Guru. Some ask questions. Anna Sahib Gavankar, why he's very dear to me is he spent 40 years with Shama, very close association. And he said, see, there are certain subjects that should not be discussed. And once and for all, that's the same perspective I agree with, that Baba never encouraged questions on his parents. Narasimha Swamiji in some books do mention about his Guru, but in the Charitra, for example, I abide by that. So I feel if we rather put our attention on the simple teachings and put it, otherwise it just becomes information and it strengthens the mind. So this is my personal view, that I don't even try to read too much, try to go down there, because Anna Sahib, who I hold very dear, simply stated that these are subjects not to be entertained. Again comes from the respect, because in the Charitra, Baba never mentioned anything about caste creed. He never mentioned anything, like, so when it comes to an incarnation, I feel we should just keep our attention at their lotus feet and be receptive to the teachings and blessings. I'm not saying what you're asking is wrong, but this is my personal view, and it was said by Anna Sahib Gavankar, it resonates with me personally. Gautam, if you would like to say anything.
Plus, he was given the kafni when he was a
Yes,
young boy.
yes.
Baba gave him his kafni to a young boy.
On the first visit at the age of 12.
Nobody knows. We don't have these answers. I have read Venkusa's name. I have read Meher Baba's version that Zarzari Zar Baksh was his guru 800 years ago. So, but as Nikkhel rightly says, that's not our portfolio, that's not our domain. Maybe there'll be other authors who can answer all that, but our focus has been daily
just
living.
One story in the Charitra which I hold very dear is, if you remember, one gentleman came and he said, I'm Baba's guru. Baba played the role of the disciple. So I feel those qualities, if we can inculcate within ourselves, that sometimes we may come across situations which, like what Baba showed, it's the highest, it's very hard to follow, but we should play our role as a disciple to perfection, and Baba will bless us. That is my faith, because that Leela, I feel, has many hidden answers that, we should contemplate on that what was Baba trying to show us through that. He could have very easily put that aside. Then later in time, that gentleman himself apologized and things changed. But why did Baba play along? Why did Baba play the role of the disciple? What was he showing us? Where should our focus be? And see, in today's day and age, there's a lot of falsehoods also. There are people who make all sorts of claims. But our behavior should be proper. It's a tall order, but I feel at least that is my takeaway from that important Leela, that focus on your own conduct. We cannot control what is on the outside.
See, there are two things here. If we look at Sai Baba or Ramana Maharshi or Sri Aurobindo, Anand Mahima, in their time when they were in the body, some people actually physically moved and created an ashram there. Now, some of the masters had practices like Ramana Maharshi said, inquire, who am I? That was the sadhana. You see? In others where there is no prescribed sadhana, there is Guru Seva. That becomes the sadhana. So, and you see, Baba said different things to different people. Where he felt the need for mantra diksha, he gave it, as it was just said. So, sadhana is a very personal thing. For me, sadhana is to take the Guru's primary teaching and live it through the day. So, if Sai Baba says, see me in all beings, to see him in all beings, and to see him in myself, that becomes the sadhana. All sadhana, if it is driven towards sukha shanti, and it can be measured directly by you as to the degree of peace that you feel in daily living, then you know that you are progressing, to use a word, in sadhana. That is what I have to say about that.
As you go down the path and are sincere with your practice, have full faith in this one thing. Baba will give you what is required and take you forward on the path. In fact, in this book, Sai Baba the Miracle, Baba told one gentleman, he said, your worldly experiences will come by your prarabdha. If you want to ask anything of me, ask me for spiritual progress and taking you forward on that path, that I can give you. In the Charitra also it's mentioned that whatever is predestined will happen. That is regarding the body, food, clothing, shelter. But spiritual practice we have to strive for. If we think that will happen by itself, then we are fooling ourselves. So if we see the Charitra, there are many practices like the Sahasranam, the Charitra itself. So as we are sincere and we go forward, the next step Baba himself will pull you. How? That inspiration will come. You yourself will go more inward driven. That will happen. Have full faith in that. See that sincerity in the disciplined practice. Like why I keep talking of Anna Sahib's experience. Baba is giving him Sakshatkar Darshan and he gets up at 4 in the morning and he's doing his Nam Smaran. And Baba tells his son, your father is taking my name only. And I think this is a very revealing incident that the discipline Anna Sahib had. No wonder he got Sakshatkar.
You see, what he is referring to, just to clarify to everyone, is in the year 1954, Sai Baba, who's dropped his body decades earlier, actually rings the doorbell, knocks on the door and enters the house physically, not in Sukshma Sharir, physical form. And he is told, Sai Baba is told that Anna Sahib is busy doing your sadhana, so he doesn't want to be disturbed.
He's in the puja ghar and Baba tells the son of Anna Sahib that your father is taking my name only. But that goes to Anna knew Baba has come. But he still continued with the practice.
This is a very rare incident.
Very rare.
I have not read such an experience where not only has a master, after dropping his body, appeared physically to his devotee, but he has stayed in the devotee's house for a few days. So if you'd like to read about it, that book, A Jewel of Sai Devotion, there are a few pages dedicated to this. But look at the temerity of Anna Sahib, that he didn't care that Sai Baba was there because he was doing Nam Smaran of Sai Baba and that was his sadhana and he didn't want to be disturbed. Imagine God himself has walked in and is staying with you, but you say, no, I am doing my sadhana, and Baba is telling the householders, don't disturb him because he's taking my name only. That is why, this living the teachings is the whole game. Well, I think you're blessed. You've been in excellent company all your life. Where's the problem? It's rare. that for the large part of one's lifespan, one is immersed in spirituality is a beautiful gift. You know, I'll tell you one thing. In my Guru Satsang, someone asked him, he had a very difficult life. And the question was, why did I have to suffer all these difficulties? The person narrated all the difficulties and challenges and said, why did I have to suffer all these difficulties? And Rameshji thought about it for a few seconds, and you know what he answered? Why not? We do not know the prarabdha. So these questions start dropping away. But you should be grateful. You know, I had written a book on my life journey called Heart to Heart. And a friend of mine in his 80s, he had a complaint that, you know, you've written about going to this temple and that temple, because I had visions and dreams, so I decided to share it. And he said, I first thought that he's giving talks on Advaita, and then why is he writing all this? This same man who complained called me the next day after that, and he said, you know, I just thought it's better to go to temples than go to bars and nightclubs. So I apologize for telling you what I told you. So the point is, all your life, what has been the content of your consciousness is the spiritual journey. What a gift that is. It is something you've been given exposure to the great masters of India. So why question it? I would be really ecstatic that if I am in my 70s and I've lived a life immersed in spirituality, I mean, it's so beautiful. What more does one want? You're already out of the Maya. You see, but the thing is, as Ramana Maharshi told someone, you're like in the middle of the Ganges and you're asking for a glass of water. When someone asked Bhagwan, I need your grace, he said, you're in the middle of the Ganges and you're thirsty for water. Grace is always ever present.
Can I add something? There's a very beautiful, very, very beautiful teaching of Baba where one of his close devotees brings an offering of food to him, and along the way she feeds the dog that she came across, and then she came and offered food to Baba later on. Baba said, I've already eaten, I'm full. She said, I never fed you. What are you talking about? So Baba said that when you appease the hunger of the dog, my hunger is appeased. Okay, and then he belched and he said, always have your conduct like this. When you see me in all beings, the dog, pig, ant, fly, everything, then you truly know me. You know, you attain unison with me. So when we talk of Baba's darshan, yes, there is darshan in his particular form that we know Baba as. But when we see this aspect, like even when we see the dog on the street, and even if we don't feed it, but we just look into its eyes and perceive the divinity within it, your whole life is darshan of Baba. So then where is the question that Baba called you now and you were not there? So if it's just a matter of perception. And this shift, what Baba gave Mrs. Tarkar, is for all of us. We can have Baba, and then obviously we are not going to ill-treat Baba. Someone once asked Baba, please come home. Baba said, yes, I will come. Then when he prepared food and a cat came home, he beat the cat. Later Baba showed, he said, see, he said, you injured me. So Baba has shown the highest Advaita, which I tell Gautam, I mean, this is the highest expression of oneness. But truly when we perceive what Baba is pointing to, our whole life is darshan.
See, by and large, if you have 10 clients and all 10 leave, then there's something wrong in your approach. That's common sense. But if you are expecting all 10 to convert and stay, that is not possible. This is the realm of duality. People we care for the most will leave us. That is the design of life. So is your suffering connected to, out of my practice, 5% have left me, 50%, 80%? That I don't know. Obviously, if the bulk of the clients are leaving you, then there is something wrong in the approach. It's quite obvious. But if a few are leaving you and you feel from the bottom of your heart that they should not have left, it's okay. You are being true to your profession. You can't win everyone's hearts. All you can do is try. So you must have also introspected on, am I doing something to make them leave? Am I being imposing? Am I being forceful? Am I being aggressive? All that you can ask yourself. But you don't have to win everyone's vote. Everyone's relationship with you is also prarabdha. Patient-doctor relationship is also prarabdha only. Those who are meant to be cured will be cured. Those who are not meant to won't be. They'll go elsewhere. So why taking the burden on yourself? That's what I have to say.
The sum and substance of the Bhagavad Gita is also action will happen through you. You are an instrument. Don't focus on the outcome, because somewhere there is attachment to an outcome. Somewhere. And that is the root of suffering. See, practically you can see, as Gautam said, is there something wrong with your approach? You can rectify that. But this also has to be looked at, that within me, is there an expectation of an outcome? Someone may stay with you, someone may leave. Maybe your medicine may not work for them. But to have that humility, that this is Rinanuban, that is Prarabdha, you honor it by giving your best in each moment, offer your best advice. You can say, by my experience, my preference, like you seem to be a holistic practitioner, this is my teaching and opinion. If they practice it, they also have to be sincere, but the outcome is not in our hand. If we meddle with outcomes, we are causing suffering.
The other thing is, either you're charging too much, that's why they are leaving, or you're charging too little, so they don't value it, so they are leaving. I have seen it in Tiruvannamalai. I have been going for over 25 years. Earlier I would go alone. When satsang started happening, I have seen people, there's no charge for the satsang. They enroll, they don't show up. And because they don't show up, someone else has lost the seat. So they don't show up and they don't inform they are not showing up. Why? It's free, no? When you pay, you have to show up. You will show up because you're getting value for the money. So I don't know if it's to do with that also. So I think I always advocate the Buddha's middle paths. Not too much this way, not too much this way. Like if I had satsangs at home and 20 people came and the next satsang 18 didn't, then there's something wrong with my satsang. So I would stop it, right? And look within. But by and by, some come, some go, it's okay. That is what I've been saying through the satsang, where your peace lies, be there. You don't need to go to temples, thy will be done. Ultimate temple is this. The body is the temple of the living God. The body is the temple of the living God. If you worship the consciousness, what greater worship is there? How do you worship the consciousness? Awareness, reflection, contemplation. What kind of thoughts am I carrying in my mind? And finding my peace through that. Then you don't need temples. Some people need temples, some don't need temples. Based on everyone's sanskars, vasanas, they follow their path. Why worry about what others say? Welcome to life. Welcome to life. Thy will be done. To accept that there is friction brings you peace. No one is doing it deliberately. It is the nature of the Rinanubandhan. Thy will be done. And lastly, my teacher, when Westerners, many of them are atheists. So when they would sit in the hot seat and tell him, I'm an atheist, you know what he would say? He would say an atheist can only be an atheist if it is God's will. All right?
So tea will be done now.
Tea will be done. Thank you. Thank you.
साईनाथ तेरे हजारों हाथ, साईनाथ तेरे हजारों जिसने तेरा नाम लिया, जिसने तेरा नाम लिया, तू हो लिया उसके साथ। साईनाथ तेरे हजारों हाथ, साईनाथ तेरे हजार